HarperCollins presents The Secret of Cypriere Bayou by Jana DeLeon, read by Shana Pennington-Baird.
Chapter 1. The sky rolled with a mass of gray clouds, and the air became thick with humidity. Olivia Markham glanced anxiously at the swirling sky as she pulled into Cypriere, Louisiana, all 5 weather-beaten buildings of it. Peering down each side of the street, she searched for signs of life. It would be the first she'd seen in well over 2 hours of driving deep into the bayous. A wooden sign swung under the awning of an old brick building to her left. The painted lettering on the sign had long since faded, but Olivia could barely make out the word cafe. Surely someone inside would be able to give her directions. She pulled into an open parking space right in front of the cafe and hurried inside. Bells on the door jangled as she crossed the threshold, and the 8 or so patrons stopped what they were doing to stare at her. She paused for a moment, but when any form of greeting wasn't forthcoming, she launched into her own. "Hello," she said. "Apparently I'm a little lost. Can anyone give me directions to laMalediction?" The patrons dropped their gazes back to their tables without saying a word. A middle-aged waitress sloshed coffee on her hand, and although the hot liquid must have burned, the waitress froze, looking over at a man sitting at the counter. A man with salt and pepper hair and a gold bar pinned on his shirt, identifying him as Sheriff Blanchard, turned to face her. "Ain't no one lived at laMalediction for over 30 years. What business you have out there?" "No business of yours." Olivia felt her back tighten with aggravation, in no mood to deal with another round of small-town mentality. "I've leased the house for the winter." "What in the world would you do that for? Winter's wet, and the road's cut off from town half the time. Nothing out there for a young lady to do." "I'm a writer," Olivia said. "Horror novels, actually, and haunted houses are my specialty." The sheriff inclined his head toward the plate-glass storefront. "You'll be wanting to stay in town until the rain stops. Bayou roads are no place for somebody unfamiliar with Cypriere, especially during a thunderstorm." Olivia shook her head, the overwhelming urge to race away from these people overpowering any good sense she might have otherwise had. "I need to get settled before dark. I'll take my chances with the rain." The sheriff narrowed his eyes at her, but before he could say another word, the cook pulled a tablet out from under the counter and began to draw a crude map. "You take the main road east," the cook said, and pointed at a line on the map. "There ain't no street signs to follow, ain't no street either when it comes right down to it. It's more like a dirt path, and you're going to have to find your way by landmarks. I've drawn them on the map and labeled them." Olivia gave the cook a grateful smile. "Thank you. I'm sure I'll see you again. I'm not much of a cook, and I eventually tire of sandwiches." The cook gave her a single nod and turned back to the grill, ignoring the sheriff's disapproving stare. Olivia took one step backward toward the door, feeling that she'd already overstayed her welcome, even though she hadn't unpacked a single bag. She gave the frowning sheriff a wave, then turned around and left the cafe. She glanced at the map, then backed her car up and headed east. What the heck was going on here? She figured laMalediction's bloody history would prevent the more easily spooked from speaking of it at all. But these people lived within miles of the structure. Surely they knew that it was only a house. She glanced in her rearview mirror for a final look behind her. The sheriff was standing just outside the cafe, watching her intently as she drove out of town. But when she took a good look at his expression, the annoyance she'd expected to see was nowhere in sight. Even though it was easily 80 degrees outside, she felt a shiver run through her. The sheriff looked frightened. "Damn it!" Olivia jammed her foot onto the brake as the road she'd been driving on disappeared into a wall of cypress trees. She must have missed a turn somewhere. Glancing up at the rolling black clouds, she bit her lip. That creepy sheriff was going to be right. Chances of her beating the storm to laMalediction were growing slimmer by the minute. If it was the right way to begin with. The thought ripped through her mind like one of those bolts of lightning that was surely on its way. What if the cook had meant to get her stranded in the storm? Stop it. Imagining monster...
Sample complete. Ready to continue?